The Mets are in the market for a little bit of sparkle with a couple of their big stars now out until the All-Star break. A lot more is on the shoulders of Jose Reyes. The Braves are in town this weekend. The big rivalry, the bats are ready. Baseball is coming up. At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the Atlanta Braves. Mets baseball is presented in HD by IOTV. Get the best in HD free with IOTV. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. I'm Gary Cohen. Keith Hernandez and Ron Darling join me in just a moment as the Mets play the middle game of their weekend series against the Atlanta Braves. The Mets let one get away last night, a game they led going into the eighth inning, and then found out after the game that they'll be out without David Wright for an even longer period of time than they had expected. It appears now as though both Ike Davis and David Wright won't return to the Mets till after the All-Star break. And, Keith, that means this team has got to play at an impeccable level to try and keep their heads above water.
Well, you know, it's cliche and it's trite, but it does take 25 to win. That's why you have a bench. Do the Mets have a bench that is capable of filling in? Well, they've got to fill in. I think Terry Collins said it adamantly that we can't afford to make mistakes. And as we said in this homestand, the last home games, they've lost games late. They've been giving games away, really finding ways to lose. They've got to stop that.
And on the other side, it means there's so much more pressure on the starting pitchers who've really been good and on the bullpen to hold leads.
You know, I think the starting pitching has been fantastic. It's gotten them to a point where you feel like they're going to win every game, but late they've really struggled. The bullpen has struggled at a time when they did not need them to struggle. And last night really made too many mistakes there late in the game to win that game.
And tonight you get the two pitchers with the two best winning percentages in the National League going head-to-head.
Well, when you look at these two pitchers, 5-0, of course, Dylan G. He has been fantastic since he's come to the Mets last season in his starts, gone at least 5 innings in every start. And going up against Jair Jurgens, who was the National League Pitcher of the Month and possibly the best pitcher in the game right now, has had the best first 2 months in his 9 starts. 7-1, outstanding pitcher, 4-pitch pitcher.
Dylan G tonight will try to become the first Mets starter ever to start his Mets season as a rookie, 6-0 as a starting pitcher. Mets and Braves, all the action coming up tonight on SNY. to you by IOTV. Get the best in HD free with IOTV. By McFadden's. Buy your all-inclusive McFadden's game day package today. Includes food, drinks, and a ticket to the game. Purchase at Mets.com/McFadden's. By Freescore.com. 3 credit scores, 1 place. By the Volkswagen Going, Gone event. Great deals are here, but not for long. Visit VWDealer.com. By AT&T. Rethink possible. And by Audi. Hitting the road, take the Mets with you this season. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Mets game live or on demand on your computer and your favorite devices. Visit Mets.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. Here's your Dunkin' Donuts around the majors this afternoon. The Red Sox and Jonathan Papelbon blew a 4-run lead in the ninth. They played to 14 innings, and J.D. Drew with the game-winning hit as the Red Sox beat the A's 9-8. Jeremy Hellickson, 7 1/3, 3 hits for Tampa Bay as they get back on the winning track in a 3-2 win over Seattle. And a big day for Albert Pujols, a homer, 3 RBIs. The Cardinals and Cubs now in the 10th, tied 4-4. That's what happened earlier. Here's what's happening now. The Braves looking to make it 2 straight over the Mets. And Citi Field, first pitch coming up. Baseball on SNY is brought to you by Brooklyn Burger, the premium steakhouse burger and the official burger of the New York Mets. Be sure to visit Keith's Grill at Citi Field, located on the field level behind Section 132, to enjoy Keith Hernandez's favorite Brooklyn burgers. And I have to tell you, full disclosure, I actually saw Keith eating a Keith's Grill burger tonight.
I took a stroll down at the field level, down the left field line by Section 131, and ordered one. They wouldn't let me pay.
And the best part of the whole thing, he gave me the Tootsie Pop that came.
At the purple one, I know you like purple.
When's the last time you paid for a meal?
It's the nicest thing he's ever done for me. Here's the Mets' upcoming schedule. Remember, all Mets games on SNY are available in HD, presented by IOTV. And you can listen to every Mets game on Sports Radio 66 WFAN. Tomorrow night's game on ESPN, and then we'll be back in action on Tuesday night in Milwaukee when the Mets start their 10-game road trip. And look at the crowd at Keith's Grill.
Oh, jeez.
You getting the commission?
Did you have to go in front of those people?
I've led a charmed life.
I'm glad you finally realized that. Here's your Braves starting lineup brought to you by Ford. No Jordan Schaefer. He has a fractured sinus but not a broken nose, and he hopes to play as soon as tomorrow after fouling a ball off his face last night, so that's actually pretty good news. Eric Hinsky and Joe Mather making the starts in the outfield with Schaefer on the sidelines.
Let's see Dylan G's numbers. He's on a 3-game winning streak, 5-0 in all. 3 relief pitch efforts, and also those 7 starts.
We'll take a look at the city New York Metropolitan defense. Total you see behind the plate. He's been struggling a little bit. Last night had some struggles. Throwing a lot better, I feel. Tejada really kind of solidifies the middle of the infield with Reyes up the middle. And of course, we are ad-libbing on the corners right now with Murphy at first and Turner, who really started at second base, who's been playing pretty much all the third base since Wright has been down.
And now we know it's going to be for a longer term. It was such a strange announcement last night after the game was over. Sandy Alderson basically saying that the Mets knew all along that the rehab time for the fractured bone in David's back would be 6 weeks, but they basically miscalculated when that clock began, and that the doctor who examined David yesterday said, okay, you're fine, now 3 more weeks. And I think that, again, as was the initial diagnosis a surprise, I think that caught the Mets by surprise.
And 3 weeks of no activity, which means he's got to build his leg strength back up. So we're looking 5 to 6 weeks.
I mean, he's in the same boat as Ike Davis. Yep. 2 guys who basically can't do anything for a 3-week period. So that's going to take them to the All-Star break. Martin Prado leads off the ball game and fouls off the first offering from Dylan G. And we're underway. Dylan making his 8th start. He's won each of the last 3 times he's gone to the mound. A gem against the Nats here at Citi Field, then in Chicago in a rain-shortened game, and then most recently Monday night against the Pirates. And a fastball in for a strike, and it's 0-2. Alex Gonzalez on deck, and then Chipper Jones for the Braves, who are now 6 games over 500 and just 2.5 behind the first-place Phillies. And the breaking ball dribbled and foul as Tolley grabbed it quickly just to make sure.
Well, another pitcher in the Mets pitching staff like Neese, who has a good breaking ball, good curve, not slider. He's got an excellent over-the-top curve ball.
Ahead on Prado 0-2, and he fouls away the fastball. Prado hitting a .282. He's 5th in the National League in hits. He's 3rd in the league in doubles. 21 multiple hit games. So he's had nice follow-up to his breakout season last year.
He had a big 2-double night last night, scored a run.
And there was a time when Prado was thought of as a utility man. Not anymore. Left center field, falling fast, and that'll drop for a hit. So Prado leads off the game with a soft single to left center. Well, the Phillies have lost 3 in a row, and the Marlins have lost 4 of their last 5, so that's given the Braves a chance to creep back closer in the NL East.
And more importantly, if you're a Metropolitan fan who's pretty much on the cliff right there at 8, it's allowed the Mets to kind of hang in.
Here's Alex Gonzalez, moved up to the number 2 spot in the order tonight, 1 for 4 last night, hitting at .269. Dylan G made his first start of this season in Atlanta. Went 5 2/3, allowed a run on 5 hits, won that game 3-2. The only game the Mets won in that series at Turner Field.
They'd lost a doubleheader the day prior.
There goes Prado, swung and missed. Tolley's throw right on the money, and tagged out is Prado for the first out of the game. So the Braves play hit and run. It didn't connect. And Prado is caught for the 5th time in 6 tries this season.
Well, nice try by Freddie Gonzalez here, because you got G who throws strikes, isn't around the plate. But the pitch was a curveball, and a pretty good one.
I like that Josh Tolley didn't panic there, took his time and threw a strike. And that's all you needed to get Prado there on the hit and run.
And a broken bat, liner into left for a base hit. So as the bat shattered, Gonzalez picks up the base hit. So the first 2 Braves have reached safely.
I certainly don't know what's going to happen in this game as we see that broken bat hit. Just a little hanging slider, it looked like. That's the pitch that he was hurt with in his last ball game by Chris Snyder on the 2-run home run. But Terry Collins was talking about how Dillon Gee seems to be unfazed, whether he gives up a hit or whether he strikes out batters. He's just mature beyond his years, his baseball years anyways.
Well, here's Chipper Jones, who hit a home run last night in a spot where we haven't seen a home run hit at Citi Field before. And he grounds one down to Murphy, but it goes right between his legs. Tejada there to clean up, and Gee gets over to cover for the second out of the inning. So Murphy, on a ball that handcuffed him, gets backed up nicely by Tejada and Gee.
Well, I don't think the ball handcuffed him. I think he got the in-between hop here. The ball's off the end of the bat, broke Chipper's bat, and the floodgates came up. See how he had his, maybe we can see it again. You always want to have your glove facing home plate, the ball. He had his hand his glove kind of at a angular position. You always want to have your glove face to the ball.
So it's a 4-1 putout, moving Gonzalez to second. Now 2 out, and Brian McCann the batter. Mets cooled down McCann last night. He went 0 for 4. And he takes a changeup for a strike.
Well, we'll take a look at it again. Watch his glove now. See, it's not facing. It's not facing towards home plate, towards the ball. He had it at an angle. And you just got to act like a steam shovel when you get a ball like that. You know, you're the front end of a steam shovel going at the ball.
So by having it at an angle, what you're saying is that you're reducing your fielding area by having an angle.
Freddie Freeman waiting on deck.
Let it go. Excuse me. I came off of my talk button too quick. Sorry, Gare.
Would you like to share that with the class?
No.
McCann was raging hot coming into this series, still hitting .353 over his last 14 games, and his bat has become even more important with the injury to Jason Hayward.
And more importantly, I think Jonathan Neese handled him easily last night. A red hot hitter. That's how good Neese was last night.
Well, so far, some dissension here between Thole and Dillon Gee as they're working hard to get on the same page.
And he can't quite pick off that inside corner, and it's 2-1.
I always run over to the booth next door and talk to Don Sutton. When I went over today and said, "How would you think of our left-hander last night?" He said, "I like him. He's got a chance to be a good one."
Well, Neese has been getting better and better. And the same can be said for the guy on the mound tonight. McCann pops one up. Shallow right center. Tejada out. Beltran into call. And that retires the side. So a couple of hits. Mets helped out by a busted hit and run play. And now the Mets will have to face one of the best in the game as Jurgens takes them out. for tonight, and notable because Jason Bay has been dropped to the number 6 spot in the batting order with his struggles, and Terry Collins grouping his hot hitters. The top 5, Reyes, Turner, Beltran, Murphy, and Pagan, all have been swinging the bat well. Reyes had another multiple hit game last night, including a triple. He made a key error, but his offense has been impeccable. And tonight facing Jair Jurgens, who has the best ERA in the majors.
Yeah, National League Pitcher of the Month in May. He's been good since day one. 3rd in the Rookie of the Year voting in 2008.
This one's hit out to right center, and Hinsky is over. And that's the first out. So Reyes is retired, and now Justin Turner coming up.
And the Coors Light defense, the hero of the game. We're going to spotlight Mather, but Hinsky out in right field got the big home run last night, the game winner. He was inserted into that game, if you recall, due to the injury to Schaefer. He's out there in right field this time, and now Mather gets his second start because I've said Schaefer.
Schaefer was subbing for Nate McLouth, who's on the disabled list, so the Braves on plan C in center field. Here's Turner, who went 1 for 4 last night. Ronnie, when you look at Jurgens, here's a guy who throws 90 miles an hour. What is it that makes him so good?
Well, what makes him good when I watch him pitch is that he's a 4-pitch pitcher. He can throw any pitch for a strike at any time. He's very economical as far as the pitches he throws.
Turner's got himself an opposite field hit. 1 out and 1 on.
And also he has a maturity. He's had a maturity since day one when he came to the major leagues. Very much like Dylan G, who started, and this is his inside pitch, Xerox inside pitch. Good from day one. 3rd in Rookie of the Year voting when he came up, traded from Detroit over. Johnny Venters now has helped him with his sinker that he started throwing in his 3rd start, and he's been outstanding. And he's handled Beltran in a way that Beltran hasn't been handled by many pitchers.
Inside pitch on Jurgens, brought to you by the Xerox Business of Baseball. Xerox ready for real business. Yeah, Beltran just 2 for 16 against Jurgens in his career. But you said something very interesting during your scouting report on Jurgens, and that is Dylan G is very similar to Jurgens, and you wonder, can G ever get to the level that Jurgens is pitching at now?
Oh, absolutely. I think that at some point, Jurgens in his first year, he was first in wins, starts, and innings pitched for the Atlanta Braves. And I don't see why Dylan G can't make that step also. He's got a maturity on the mound that Jurgens has. And I think the thing about Jurgens that I like is just that never any fear of the situation. We saw him early in his career be in a bases loaded situation at the old Shea and came through in flying colors. And I see a lot of that in Dylan G. And I think in this day and age where, if you're the scout out there, I can scout guys that throw 98 miles an hour. It's these guys that you have to scout, guys that have a big heart, throw strikes, and can throw strikes with multiple pitches.
Beltran swings through the fastball at 87 miles an hour, and it's 1-2.
That pitch didn't do too much right there, but again, it's the first inning. You can get away with some of those pitches first time through the lineup.
Jurgens has had some nagging injuries, but none of them have had to do with his arm. Last year he had a hamstring issue. He had a knee surgery after the season. And he picks off the inside corner and gets Beltran looking for the second out. Beltran lingers to discuss it with young umpire Alan Porter.
The reason that fooled him is that's a pitch that most left-handers don't see. That was a changeup inside. So the ball that looks like it's going to stay inside ends up, because it's going at such a slow rate, coming back over the inside part of the plate.
So take a look at the Delta keep climbing overhead cam. So 2 out of the inning, and now Daniel Murphy elevated to the cleanup spot tonight. Murph riding a 6-game hitting streak, hitting .565 over the 6 games. That's how hot he's been. And he takes outside from Jurgens. Greg Murph is the only hitter in the Mets lineup who's had any measure of success against Jair Jurgens. He's 6 for 18 against him. Jurgens has really handled the Mets over the course of his career. 8-2 lifetime, including a wonderful game that he pitched against the Mets in April in Atlanta. That was his first start of the season. He had missed the first 2 weeks of the season because of an oblique strain, another one of those non-arm related injuries that Jurgens has had to work around. But he was great that day, allowed just 2 hits in 7 innings. Who's Hot presented by Cholula Hot Sauce, and who's hotter than Daniel Murphy right now? 451 over the last 14 games.
I think it's safe to say that he broke out of his slump.
Getting a 298 now for the year. He's come a long way. And now with the ongoing injuries to Davis and Wright, he knows he's going to be out there every day.
I always see pitchers run zoned out in the dugout.
That looks a lot like me.
That's what I was just. Turner got a big jump and steals the base.
What's going through their mind, Ronnie, when you're in between innings? That's a stupid question. But
No, you're semi paying attention offensively what's going on. You know that Murph's up. You know that Turner's running. But at the same time, you're lost, Keith, in deep thought about who you're facing in the next inning. And you're going over in your mind, okay, I've got 5, 6, 7. I got McCann out. I got 5, 6, 7. Okay, what am I going to do to the fifth place hitter? What's my first pitch going to be? You're working your way through the second inning before you go out there to pitch it.
Turner's stolen base is third of the year, so he's in scoring position. And Murphy lines one the other way, a base hit. Turner's going to be held at third as Prado gets it quickly and hits Chipper, the cutoff man. Well, Chip Hale would have loved to have sent Turner, but that ball arrived in Prado's glove very quickly.
Well, you can do two things here, and Chip's held him up because another guy can drive him in. It's early in the game, you can take a chance. As Murph continues, he's doing a lot of that lately, and that's why he's going the opposite field, hitting line drives. Prado was playing way shallow, and I just didn't have a chance to go home. Did not have a chance. And Turner gets a good jump. He runs well, but Prado just playing way in. He's actually playing shallow right now against Pagan.
So first and third and 2 out, and now Angel Pagan, who's hit in 8 straight games since coming off the disabled list, 2 for 4 and drove in a run last night. That's trying to scratch against Jurgens, one of those guys who you've got to get early.
You're talking about Prado. Unlike most infielders that go to the outfield, they have been raving about his outfield play, how aggressive he is, and in this outfield unit, he has the best arm of all the outfielders.
Pagan hits one out to center field, and Mather is there. And that retires the side. So 2 hits and 2 left for the Mets in the bottom of the first. We go to the second. Dylan G back to the mound with no score. Soccer match at Citi Field featuring the national teams from Ecuador and Greece this Tuesday at 8 p.m. are on sale. Call 718-507-TIXX or visit 507TIXX.com now for your tickets. Braves rookie first baseman Freddie Freeman leads off in the second inning. Freeman's been hot with the bat.
He had a big double last night off of Frankie. in that ninth inning, that 3-run ninth. He drove in the 2 insurance runs.
Up the middle, Tejada with the diving stop, gets up and throws him out. Ruben Tejada continues to flash some serious leather at second base.
Well, he can pick it. We know that. And this is just a purely reactional play, a bullet up the middle and just a full extension. Nice dive, backhand.
You know, Keith, I'm going to ask Tejada tomorrow, because yesterday Freeman, first pitch, hit a single up the middle. Same play as that. I wonder if Tejada moved the step to his right, because it can make all the difference in the world. Nice play.
So 1 out. Now Dan Uggla. And Uggla was right in the middle of the 8th inning that produced the tying run for the Braves. Here's a guy who has not hit a lick all year. He's been ice cold, and Jason Isringhausen came out of the bullpen and walked Uggla, which set the downward spiral in motion.
That's really 2 months of hitting on the interstate. And you just don't see that from Mr. Uggla in those last 16 games. That's ugly.
That's 4 hits in 54 at bats. It's a rough one.
Boy. Some water coolers better run for their lives.
Knocked down by G, and has enough time to scramble after it and throw out Uggla for the second out. So G quickly getting his glove to that ball on a hard hit shot. Let's go back to Tejada's play.
Well, see his head right on the ball.
He's looking it into the glove even when he's diving. Pretty cool.
Well, they tell you to keep your eye on the ball when you're hitting. Same applies on defense.
You don't want to be one of those ones like, look what I found. Remember that Little League used to say that?
Well, how about the play Alex Gonzalez made yesterday with his back turned?
Yes, that was with the infield in.
Yeah.
Yes, that was terrific.
So the Mercedes-Benz Ultra Mo brought to you by your Tri-State dealers on the web at searchmercedes.com. Here's Eric Hinsky. He had the go-ahead home run against Frankie Rodriguez in the 9th inning last night.
Well, he first ball fastball hit, and Frankie wanted to sink it away and got it up and over the middle, and just out of the reach of Carlos.
And watching Hinsky run around, it almost looked like he was, look what I found. I can't believe that ball went out of the ballpark.
Well, got a little bit of a boost from the wind last night, which was blown out that way. And, you know, as we've seen in the 3 years we've watched games at Citi Field, if you're going to hit a home run, down the right field line's a pretty good spot for it. 2-2 to Hinsky, who did not start the game last night, came in when Jordan Schaefer got hit in the face, fouling off a bunt attempt, and ended up taking advantage of his opportunity. 2-2 from G, and Hinsky tries to hold, and he did. Base umpire Lance Barksdale with the call.
Hinsky is built and looks like a much bigger Ed Ott. Remember the old pirate catcher?
Yes.
The guy who dropped Felix Millan on his head.
He was a wrestler. Nicest guy in the world until he got in a team fight. You get away from him.
I'll never forget that. It was a play at second base, and Ott got upset, and he took Felix and he basically dropped him on his head.
Ed was very strong. He was around 5'8", little guy. He was, but built like a bowling ball. I mean, like a fire hydrant.
5'8" by 5'8".
He could hit a little bit.
3-2 to Hinsky, and he gets under this one to right field. Easy play for Beltran. And so a 1-2-3 inning for Dylan G, helped out by Tejada's defense to the bottom of the second with no score.
I must say the airplane's views in the new ballpark are better than Shea's views.
Well, we're a little closer to the airport.
More open areas too.
Jason Bay dropped to the 6th spot in the batting order. Terry Collins saying it's time to let Jason relax a little bit. He's been going so badly. And he hits that one sharply down to 3rd, and Chipper Jones has got it. And Bay retired, one away.
Keith, you're a middle of the place hitter, you're third place hitter your whole life. You struggle. Does that take any of the pressure off by dropping down in the lineup, do you think?
No, it does not.
Because you're putting all the pressure on yourself, right?
You still got to face the same pitcher. And there's Jason off the end of the bat. He's just speeding up too much, and we've all been through it. And this is certainly prolonged, to say the least. But I just think he's just rushing things. You see things in fast motion. You know when you got a great game going on. You're out there, you're doing everything, and everything's in slow motion. It's almost like you can reach your hand out there and put it where you want. Same thing in hitting. It's like slow-mo.
Josh Tolley 1 for 4 last night, and he lifts this one to left center. And Mather easing over. Joe Mather playing his 2nd game in center field for the Braves, but he's played there a bunch. We saw him in spring training. It's his 17th career start in center field. He started out with the Cardinals. Not the great speed that a Jordan Schaefer has, but he can cover some ground. So 2 out and nobody on. Now Ruben Tejada the batter.
You know, Keith, when I was going through bad stretches, because when you're going through good stretches, you don't really think about it. Things just happen naturally. When you're going through bad stretches, I always found that I had a lot of foreign thoughts. You know, just strange thoughts. You were thinking of things other than the game. You know, what could happen here? I didn't get around on that inside fastball if you're a hitter, or if you're a pitcher. Boy, I'm 2-0 again. Those kind of thoughts that you wouldn't have when you're going well.
No question.
Yeah.
So it almost becomes a focus thing.
Yeah, you just
had me worried when you said strange thoughts for a minute.
Foreign thoughts, I said. Foreign thoughts.
But they
What
are.
do you think I was a national?
Like ooh la la.
I'm asking you to expound on it.
Tejada 0 for 3 last night, hitting at .294. And he takes one the other way, and Ruben's got himself a base hit. Played to the line by Hinsky, and it'll hold Tejada to a single. Oh, boy. So Tejada will help the Mets clear the pitcher's spot here in the 2nd. Their 3rd hit off Jurgens.
Well, Ruben goes the other way, and we know we can hit that pitch away.
You know, the one thing I've noticed, I don't know if you guys have noticed the same thing. He always hit the ball the other way last year, too, but it's more authority this year than it was last year.
They're not knocking the bat out of his hands this year. Dylan G 1 for 13 at the plate this season. And takes a strike from Jurgens.
The Mets got their hands full tonight off Jurgens, and then tomorrow they got Hudson. You know, it's a pretty good rotation rolled up against you here, this Brave ball club.
Jurgens is 3 months older than Dylan G, but he's been in the big league since 2007 when he first came up with the Tigers. There's the rotation for the Braves. They have been, by all odds, the best starting staff in the league so far this year. And G is down on 3 pitches. 2nd strikeout for Jurgens, and that ends the inning. A hit and 1 left. We go to the 3rd at Citi Field with no score. Score.com, 3 credit scores, 1 place. See the caps the fans got when they came through the turnstiles tonight. Little new design.
I've never seen those before.
A blue front panel and the orange back. There they are. Nice new accessory.
Nice.
Joe Mather hitting 8th in the order, leads off the 3rd inning against Dylan G. Mather making his 11th start for the Braves. And brings Turner rushing in from 3rd. Mather first drafted by the Cardinals out of high school in Arizona in 2001, and he's had cups of coffee with St. Louis over the last few years. And he lines this one to center field for a leadoff hit. So for the 2nd time in 3 innings, the Braves get the leadoff man on against Dylan G, which is unusual because the batting average against G leading off innings this season before today was 159. So now the pitcher Jurgens will come up to try and bunt him over. Not much of a hitter, but a pretty good bunter. And Jurgens lays it down beautifully. And Murphy makes the play. 3-4 on the sacrifice, moving Mather to 2nd. Let's take a look at the IOTV pitch differential on Mather's hit.
They've got some of these hits on, all of them have been on fastballs in the middle of the plate so far by Dylan G.
One base hit off of Gonzalez's bat was a hanging slider up. So every pitch has been kind of over the middle. Well, that's, make mistakes,
Make them early.
Big league hitters take advantage.
So now Martin Prado with a runner at 2nd and 1 out. Prado had a base hit to left center to open the ball game, then was thrown out trying to steal on a busted hit and run play. And the curveball off G right to Turner, and he turns, fires to first, and gets the out. He thought about going after Mather, who was coming into 3rd base, but realized he couldn't, and so he loaded up and gunned down Prado for the 2nd out.
Well, very fortuitous skate save there. That's an RBI single up the middle. This ball was ripped.
Right off the heel of Dylan G. Not the first time that Turner's been in a situation like that this year with a runner coming from 3rd, and this time he didn't hesitate. Ray Ramirez, the trainer, out for a look at G to make sure that he's okay, but no issue there for Dylan. And now Alex Gonzalez with 2 out and a runner at 3rd. Gonzalez had a broken bat hit his first time up. Each team now with 3 singles. G's had some hard hit balls against him. Tejada made the fine diving stop in the 2nd inning. G handled a hard comebacker from Ugley in that same inning. And now the one off Dylan's heel that goes for an out. So he's been a little fortunate in that regard. Chipper Jones waiting on deck.
I love the defensive positioning here. We got Gonzalez, a kind of a pull hitter, and particularly the right side of the infield, Ron. And you got Tejada, and there's Murph way over there. I always like to play off the line like that. And your infielder's got to know you're that far off because it's going to be a long run over there.
Do you worry at all about him getting to the bag and having the proper footwork after that long run?
Well, I'll worry about Murph getting there, absolutely. But I like him getting over there. I would come in just a little bit closer to kind of cut maybe a foot in, 2 feet in, because you just basically want to take that hole. You're giving him the right field line, and I absolutely agree.
G ahead on Gonzalez, 1-2. And he struck him out with a high fastball. First strikeout for G. And he works around the leadoff hit by Mather in the 3rd. He's striking him out when it counts. Still no score at Citi Field.
Bottom of the third inning, Jose Reyes will lead it off. It's time for our favorite segment of the homestand, the Verizon Live Ask the Booth. Reyes is up as a shortstop, but boy, second base has been interesting, right? Justin Turner's played great. Paul's here from Floral Park, has a question about that. Paul, what do you have for the guys?
Hey guys, I just wanted to know when Ike comes back, who's going to play second base every day? Also, Keith, I just wanted to get your opinion on my sunglasses.
We need to look at those sunglasses.
You give him a better look.
Yeah, outstanding.
Outstanding. I didn't think he'd get an outstanding. I thought he'd get crushed.
He needs a little work on the hairdo.
Work on the hairdo, by the way.
Asking you shall receive more than you bargained for.
Just kidding.
Well, what about second base, guys? I mean, obviously it's going to be a long time before Ike and David Wright are back. But assuming that all is the same as it is now, when you have Tejada and Murphy and Turner all playing so well and such different players, who gets the call? Reyes lifts one out to center field, and Mather comes in to get it for the first out.
That is a very interesting question. At Turner, how do you take Turner out of the lineup?
What about Murphy? As hot as he's been. What about Tejada in his glove?
Well, then your bench becomes much stronger, does it not?
I think that's one of the keys for the Mets. They have to get that bench stronger. Ike's got to play every day, of course. I think it depends on. I've always felt that when I watch this game, it's down the road and things kind of sort themselves out by then. It's just the nature of this sport, whether it's injuries, not playing well, all of those things. So it kind of sort themselves out. That being said, it wouldn't be awful to have Turner and Murphy on your bench to be able to play day game after night game and also pinch hit for you late in games.
And I think also in the month or 5 weeks or whatever it is until those guys come back, all three of those players will prove whether positively or negatively whether they belong. I mean, Turner is still relatively untested. He hasn't really been around the league. Tejada has yet to definitively prove that he can hit big league pitching. Murph is obviously a work in progress defensively, although he's really a pure hitter as Turner goes down looking for the second out. So I think that all those things will work themselves out. But that having been said, on this team, when you have Wright and Davis and Beltran and Reyes and Bay, assuming he ever hits, all healthy, maybe what you want at second base is defense.
That's a possibility. And if you have a fly ball pitcher, much like what Davey Johnson did in the 80s, was when Sid pitched, he put Kevin Mitchell at shortstop once in a while, if you recall. Or Hojo played shortstop. He went for more of an offense.
Well, you're right. If R.A. Dickey was pitching right now the way he's throwing right now, you have to have your infield defense strong.
Well, let me throw one more thing at you. By the time that Davis and Wright are ready to come back, will Reyes be here? Will Beltran be here? We don't know.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's team could be just totally different. Carlos in his first at bat struck out on a changeup inside. He was not happy with the call, and plate umpire Alan Porter is a rookie umpire, and they're both going back and forth to each other in this second at bat.
And that's so out of character of Carlos too. And sometimes those young umpires, the rookies, if you're a veteran, you can play a little intimidation on them. You get that call.
Do players test young umpires in that regard?
Well, you always find out when the new umpires come what their temperament is. Absolutely.
There's something about Jurgen's fastball, isn't there, that guys just don't see it well?
He's sneaky. He hides the baseball very, very well. He's got a very slow motion, and then he kind of jumps at you. So we've seen, the swings of the hitters let you know how sneaky that fastball is.
2-2 to Beltran, and the changeup off the plate, 3-2.
He's really got a good change, and it fades away from a left-hand hitter, and he locates so well.
It's not a whole lot of velocity differential, though, between his fastball and his changeup. And Beltran down swinging. Foul tips one that McCann holds to end the inning. So back-to-back strikeouts for Jurgens. He's got 4 on the night. And we've got a pitcher's duel developing at Citi Field. No score after 3. nothing like taking the 7 train to the ballpark right when you get past 111th Street and you see the park looming in front of you.
It's funny, you can't see it at all until you get past 111th Street, and then it's just right there in all of its glory.
I took that train when I was with the Cardinals, and we used to stay down at 42nd Street, right at the train station there, and it takes all of 55 minutes on the 7 train.
You got to take the express, brother.
There was no express. Oh, right, Garrett. It's only the 7.
Well, the express will run during rush hour, so it depends what time you come into the ballpark.
Well, it was that was back on the 8 o'clock games.
So if you were coming at 10 in the morning to hang out of the ballpark all day, there might not have been an express.
Well, it was a long ride.
1-1 to Chipper, and a good changeup by Dylan G. 1-2. And again, we're talking about Jurgens and G, and the similarities in the way they go about things are very interesting, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Remember now, Dylan, because of the arm injury, was cost himself a year. Jurgens didn't have to go through that.
And another changeup to strike out Chipper Jones, so 2 consecutive strikeouts for G. Got Gonzalez to end the 3rd and Chipper to start the 4th. 1 out.
I was talking to you guys in between innings, is that Dylan G, he might be a rookie as far as his status, but as far as delivering the baseball and knowing what he's doing, I said to both of you, he's one of the few pitchers on the Mets that recognizes swings, and if he gets a bad swing on a pitch, he will repeat it.
Mercedes-Benz Ultramo brought to you by your Tri-State dealers on the web at searchmercedes.com. Brian McCann flying to right his first time up. Each team with 3 singles. No score in the 4th. Past the mound, Reyes playing over that way, makes the stop and the toss to get him. Reyes was not overshifted, but playing toward the bag at second. Still have to cover a lot of ground to get that ball for the 2nd out.
Well, McCann, when he first came up, sprayed the ball all over the ballpark, but he's become more of a pull hitter like most veteran hitters become. They learn how to pull. And Reyes positioned nicely and showing his range. And 6-3 in your scorecard.
After letting a ball to his left get by last night, very conscious of not letting that happen.
Oh, that's a bullet he can throw, too. Ooh.
So 2 out now. Freddie Freeman, who was robbed of a base hit by Ruben Tejada, his first time up. And G crowds him 1-0.
Like this guy's swing, Keith? Freddie Freeman?
I got to see a little more of it. He goes the other way. Another guy that he will learn to pull. But I like guys that come up and are able to go the other way, because if you come up a pull hitter, you're going to get in trouble. If you hit the ball the other way and you naturally can go the opposite field, as you get more experience, you learn with the familiarity with the pitchers and then the catchers, how they call their game. You learn to pull. So I think he's got a big, bright future in front of him.
I like it because it's not a long swing. You see a lot of rookies come up and they have some holes. Doesn't seem like he has a lot of holes in his swing. Makes a lot of contact.
He has the ability to inside out to left field. The old emergency swing.
His season has gotten better and better over the last 17 games, hitting .388, and really has picked up the slack for a Braves offense that has struggled at times this year. Braves are averaging less than 4 runs per game. And stroked sharply to short, and Reyes out of position perfectly. And that facilitates a 1-2-3 inning for Dylan G, his 2nd of the night. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Murphy to lead off in a scoreless game. 86 Amazing Memories presented by Citi, and among the 86 alums in the ballpark tonight is Doug Sisk, fine relief pitcher for the Mets during the 1980s. Hey Keith, you got in that shot too.
He made me look good, Doug. Doug always threw ground balls.
And as Daniel Murphy leads off the bottom of the fourth, Doug Sisk is standing by with Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin?
You did always throw ground balls. You only let up 15 home runs in your career. I mean, how did you do that?
I give him a few walks, too. You know, I had a good sinker. That was basically it. And, you know, that's what I lived with, and that's what I died with.
You know, we were just talking for coming on camera, and the first base hit you let up was to?
Willie Stargell in 1982 on Willie Stargell night. And I was kind of mad about it, but as it stood out, I mean, it was a great night for him.
I guess at the time, not so good, but looking back, that's a pretty cool piece of trivia. When you go around now, I mean, what amazes you? Just the fact that you still get recognized a lot. You walk in and people say, "Hey, 86 Mets," that type of thing.
Not as much now. I mean, I'm pretty plain looking kind of guy. I think. I'm sure that up in the booth there, they're probably laughing. But
you don't wear your jersey around out in Washington, Doug?
I'm afraid that doesn't work real well. No, I rarely wear the rings too. I mean, I'm into whatever I do. I mean, I'm working and what have you. But you know, I don't need to advertise anything. I mean, there's a lot better players out there that do the same type of situation.
What was unique about that bullpen as Murphy bats here for the Mets? What was unique about that bullpen in '86 and the combination of guys that you had?
I tell you, I think we had a lot of guys that had played in a lot of different roles. At one point, I was a closer for a while, and with the emergence of Roger McDowell in that '85 and '86, that was huge for the Mets. And with Jesse Orozco, I mean, there was a lot of guys that could do a lot of different things. But as Ron Darling knows up there, and he's probably listening to me, they didn't give us much of a chance, those starters, to get in there in middle relief because they were doing their job.
What do you think your role would have been today? I mean, it's so different now. I mean, you look at that team and Roger and Jesse both at the back, and you know, and like you said, starters went a lot deeper, especially that staff. What do you think you would have been like today with the different roles they have out there for the pen?
I think, first of all, I'd have blown them away on pitch count situation because I probably would be throwing a lot of pitches. But, you know, I think I wouldn't have been throwing as many innings as I did as the beginning of my career. I mean, there was a couple years there that I was in the 60 and 70 games. And those were 2 and 3 innings a shot sometimes. But, you know, when you get the ball, you take it. And you go after them and you do what you can. I think now probably, I don't want to talk about salary, but I think probably in that middle role right now. Get a couple guys out here and there.
What are you doing right now, Doug?
I do some part-time scouting for the Mets back in the Pacific Northwest. And I've been lucky enough, I work in the beer and wine industry. And then also have been lucky enough to do some Comcast radio TV for the Tacoma Rainiers, which is the Seattle Mariners AAA affiliate in Tacoma.
See, I knew the polish was there. I could tell. You know, when you talk about scouting, though, what is it? High school? Is it college? What kind of? Give me some details about what you do in the scouting world.
Well, it'd be more or less on the amateur side. Jim Reeves, which is our head scout in the Pacific Northwest, I help out occasionally, going in and out and looking at some guys. It's, you know, pitching, whatever. It doesn't really make any difference. And here with the New York Mets and anybody that plays in New York, not only looking for a good player, but you're looking for a kid that's got it all together because he's going to have to deal with a lot of other things on top of it.
The draft is on Monday. I mean, do you take a special interest in any recommendations that you've made, per se?
I have in the past. This year is kind of slow up in our area with the weather and what have you, so I haven't been out as much as I normally do, but you know, I'm sure we'll pick somebody out of the area. There's some pretty decent prospects up there.
Doug, listen, it's great catching up to you, and always good to catch up with the 86 Mets, okay?
Very good. Thanks a lot. You guys have a good time up in the booth. You can hear me, but I can't hear them.
He was ready to give some stuff to you guys, but he couldn't hear back, so it wouldn't have gone very far. Guys, take it away.
Well, Doug was always very entertaining on the airplane flights from city to city when we were on the road. He and Danny Heap and Walt Terrell and Jesse in the back.
They were the bunch. I will tell you, though, Dougie had as good a sinker as I've ever seen when he pitched for the Mets and whenever he pitched. And for a lot of people out there who like a little trivia, remember that opening day in 1983 where Tom Seaver pitched at Shea Stadium and 55,000 screaming fans? Well, Dougie finished that game with a 3-inning save. So big highlight for him, I'm sure, that day.
He was one of the prime closers for the Mets in '83 and '84 before, as he mentioned, those other guys came along, McDowell and Orozco. Pagan flies out for the second out. And, you know, Sisk took a lot of heat from Met fans during his season. but he had some really good days for this club. He pitched in both the League Championship Series and the World Series in '86, effectively in both. And I thought a lot of times he got an unfair time from Met fans.
Well, you know, '84, he shared the closing duties with Jesse, much like Roger and Jesse did later. And I remember '84, Doug came back in '85 and really struggled. I believe, I could be wrong, I think he got sent down that year. And he went back down and came back, and I thought was a better pitcher than he was the next 2 years with us than he was in '84. But in a different role.
Yeah, well, he was in a role that you didn't get saves or any of those kind of things. And I mentioned that he got the save in that Seaver game. Of course, he didn't get the save. He pitched after Seaver left the game and got the win in that game.
Jurgens behind on Jason Bay, 2-0 with 2 out and nobody on. Jason grounded out to third his first time up. Now 0 for his last 14.
Listen, we talk about it all the time. It takes 25 guys to win. Dougie he was one of the great guys to be around. Never had a frown on his face, always had a smile. And even when, he took it a little bit took a little ribbing, he still would come to the ballpark and have a big smile on his face. And that's part of it. Need those people in the clubhouse. Had enough people frowning like you and me, Keith. What?
That's right. Morose human being.
The princes of darkness.
You guys have changed so much.
Not really.
Get us out of uniform.
Did you see it?
We're Geminis.
2-2 to Bay, and he goes down swinging. So Jurgens strikes out Bay. 5 strikeouts for Jurgens. He's retired 7 in a row, and Bay's struggles continue. 4 in the books now at Citi Field. G and Jurgens in a pitcher's duel with no score. Universal Orlando Resort from SNY and Toyota, where you can enjoy 2 amazing theme parks, nonstop nightlife, and a 3-night stay on site at the exciting Hard Rock Hotel. All you have to do is go to sny.tv/Toyota and enter the Toyota Fan Flyaway Sweepstakes. There's your Acela 5th inning recap. All zeros. Jurgens and G have been terrific. First pitch swinging, and Dan Uggla pulls one down the line off Turner's glove. He's going to get 2 bases out of this. So Dan Uggla, who had been locked in a hellacious batting slump, attacks the first pitch he sees in the 5th, and he's got a leadoff double.
Oh, look at his expression there. He's happy to get a hit.
He's like, finally.
And that's off the end of the bat out in front, just right down the line. I think the ball kind of took an up hop. No, he just didn't quite get there.
He's playing on the line, too.
For Uggla, it's his 8th double of the year. He'd been 0 for 13 and 4 for his last 55 before that 2-base hit. So that's the first extra base hit of this game for either side. So G's got a problem to work around. Eric Hinske, the number 7 hitter, and he takes inside for ball 1. Hinske fly to right his first time up. Joe Mather behind him, and then the pitcher's spot, Jurgens.
Well, the right guy to have up here, pull hitter and Hinske, to drive him in or get him over.
Hit the other way in a foul ball.
You know, one of the things that it not won't take away, but Dylan G's best pitch is his changeup against a left-handed hitter. But if he throws that changeup in the strike zone, it's going to be pulled. It's always pulled.
Yes.
So if you throw it, he's going to be more cognizant of making sure that ball is out of the strike zone. Get a strikeout that way. The other thing you can do is, pitch Hinske away. Pitch him away and down and hope he goes that other way. Those are the couple of ways that you can counter. But, it's a difficult task with Hinske up there.
Of course, the other piece right now is, as hot as Jurgens is and as well as he's pitching tonight, G's got to be aware that one run could mean this game.
Oh, I'm sure he's well aware of it. He knows he's locked into a pitching duel here.
What I would be thinking right now if I were in G's spot, I got to get through Hinske. I got to get Hinske out, because even if he advances the runner, I got Mather, the 8th place hitter. And if I get Mather, then I'm through the inning. I got to think I'm good enough to get the pitcher out. So,
change up out of the strike zone, as you said, Ronnie.
He knows what he's doing out there. He has an idea, and he knows how to execute.
Well, both these pitchers aren't afraid to throw their changeup to the other side of the plate.
But both can, and it's a very difficult thing. Most right-handers can only throw it away to left-handed hitters.
So now Hinske's got to be aware of that.
Fastball up. Back with a change. We saw him the last time, sorry Gary, throw a fastball up that he almost check swinged on and didn't go through. Might be a pitch you might try here with Josh. Let's see.
Now 2-2 to Hinske, and he lifts one to shallow right. Beltran steadies, makes the grab. Uggla trying for third. Here comes the throw by Beltran on the hop, and he's just in there safely. A great throw by Carlos Beltran, and Uggla barely beat him.
Well, Uggla runs pretty good. This ball's not hit deep. Pretty much can of corn, and just a perfect throw by Carlos, but the ball kind of bounced up. Uggla gets a good jump and runs well enough to do it. Good gamble, tight game, take the chance.
And a great view of it there on the Mercedes-Benz Ultramo.
Nice slide.
So the Mets will bring the infield in now in a scoreless game. You got the number 8 hitter Mather, who singled to center his first time up.
Off a fastball, Ronnie, but on the middle, and I don't think he's going to get that fastball first pitch here.
At least not in the strike zone.
Well,
right?
he got it, but what he wanted to do is he either was going to be perfect with that or it was going to be a ball. Now he can counter because he can throw his secondary pitches over. He can counter with a slider, changeup, or even curveball.
Slider out of the strike zone. It's 2-0. Well, would he be heartbroken if he walked Mather in this spot?
He wouldn't be heartbroken, but the problem you have if you don't turn a double play, you're going to have second and third and Martin Prado up.
And I would, if I was managing the Braves, I would not bunt with the Jurgens, even though he's not a good hitter. I'd let him swing the bat.
G behind Mather, 2-0, and he goes with another slider and misses. Now it's 3-0.
I would be inclined to give Mather a swinging sign here. If he gets a fastball, let him rip. But I don't think he's getting a fastball. Change up.
And that's ball 4. So G walks Mather on 4 pitches. First walk he's issued tonight. And now the Braves have first and third and 1 out with the pitcher Jurgens coming up.
Remember last night in a similar situation, Alex Gonzalez broke for home on a bunt up the first base line. So you're going to have to be prepared with Uggla also if Jurgens is bunting.
Well, Jurgens laid down a beautiful bunt back in the third.
And there was we think a safety squeeze last night in last night's ball game by the Braves. As you see, Jurgen bringing the bat back.
So let's see how the Braves play it. Ugla at third, Mather at first, and 1 out. And Jurgens gets the bunt down. Tolley takes a look at second, but takes the out at first. Well, G did exactly what you're supposed to do, came up and in, and Jurgens did well to get that ball down fair. 2-4 on the sacrifice, moving Mather to second.
Well, the good thing about Jurgens, see how on the high pitch he gets the bat above the baseball. That is the key, because if you stay underneath the baseball, you're going to pop it up. He almost raises his body to make sure he gets on top of that ball. And I think that ball inside, he was a little lucky, to tell you the truth, to get it down.
That ball had a little English on it.
So now Dylan G, well knowing that the game might be on the line here in the 5th inning. Scoreless game. Jurgens on the other side. Second and third and 2 out, and Martin Prado the batter. Prado's 1 for 2 today. He banked one off G's heel and was thrown out by Turner his last time up. And he takes a fastball for a strike. 91 from Dylan G, about where he'll top out.
Well, this is the guy I would be careful with. Gonzalez is a guy, now you hate to have the bases loaded, but Gonzalez is a guy, you know, if you make your pitches, you can get him out. Prado, different. You can be off the plate and he can still put it in play.
And Prado's a good 2-strike hitter, too.
33 RBIs this year for Prado. And the slider off the plate, and it's 1-1.
If this misses, it's a good eye, because that is a bait, and it is a ball. That is a bait curveball right there, and it's so critical. You're 0-2, and you said if you swing at that, and then you're in a deep hole.
And Prado fouls it off, and now it's 1-2. Now G struck out Gonzalez to end the third to strand Mather at third. Now trying to strand 2 in scoring position, dealing with Prado in the 5th.
Prado way up in front of that box.
Fouls away the fastball.
See Dylan's face, frustration, not very happy with that pitch. He thought it was too good of a pitch to Prado.
But the one good thing about it is that it was a fastball and it was out of the strike zone where he couldn't get hurt. He wanted to get it in more, I think.
It could set up a changeup if he bounces it. Don't want to throw anything around the strike zone ahead in the count here to Prado.
Got it up and in. Murphy chasing that foul ball, but it's back in the crowd.
And he made sure he got it in. And he doubled up inside. Now he got a lot of things he can do. But that's what makes Prado such a good hitter. He can fight off that up and in pitch with 2 strikes, and then you think you can go away, and he can just he's right there to cover it.
One-two from G. And it's just off the corner.
Just missed.
That's that changeup he throws outside right-handers. Very rarely do you see this pitch, and he tries to bring it back over the outside corner. I think Alan Porter got it right, but boy, a close pitch.
Just missed. Could have gone either way.
Delta keep climbing overhead, Cam, giving it the good view. Now it's 2-2 to Prado, and G wants a conversation with Tolley.
Well, what happens when you're pitching in this situation is that sometimes you just get sick of not being on the same page and shaking off your catcher. So really you just call him out, and what you do right here, Gary, is you give him 2 pitches. This is the pitch I'm going to throw here, and if this happens and we go to 3-2, this is the pitch we're going to throw. So you almost do a 2-pitch sequence here on this 2-2 count.
This will be the 7th pitch of the at-bat from G to Prado. And there'll be another.
He wanted that one inside, and that was a pitch that was to hit right there. That was a mistake.
And also the ability, Keith, to reach back for a little extra when he needs it. throwing mostly 88, 89, maybe 90, 92 there for Dylan G.
Notice Prado choking up here on the bat.
Again, the 2-2, and Prado takes it just off the plate, and he stopped the swing. They check with Field and Colbreth to make sure, and it's 3-2.
Let me tell you, this is a great sequence here. A terrific at bat for Prado, a terrific pitch selection and attack by of G. It's just great one-on-one right here. Someone's got to lose.
First base is open, so if Prado walks, Alex Gonzalez would come to bat with the bases full. Ninth pitch of the at-bat, and Prado bounces one to short. Nice easy hop for Reyes, and he throws out Prado to end the inning. A big pitching job for Dylan G as he wins that terrific battle with Prado to keep it scoreless halfway through. Jurgens, and he's already gotten himself a couple of king-sized outs in this game. Now the Mets will try and get him something going offensively. Josh Thole leads off in the home fifth inning. Josh flying to center his first time up. Mets had their best scoring threat in the first inning. Turner singled, Stoll second, Murphy singled to left. Prado was playing shallow, so Chip Hale held Turner at third. And that's as close as the Mets have come to scoring in this game.
Pretty good job by Josh taking those first two changeups from Jurgens.
Now you're 2-0, and you just got a first ball. You got a fastball hit here.
There's a strike, 2-1. In St. Louis today, Albert Pujols hit a home run in the bottom of the 12th inning. His second of the game to beat the Cubs 5-4. King Albert may be getting hot now. I guess it was only a matter of time. Hit sharply, a base hit for Thole. And the Mets get the leadoff man on for the first time today. The fourth hit off Jurgens.
Well, got ahead in the count, even though he took 2-0 fastball outside corner. Still 2-1, and then the fastball away, he jumps on it. Outside corner.
Every hit the Mets have had in this game has been a single to the opposite field. Turner, Murphy, Tejada, and now Thole.
Which tells you that when Jurgens gets behind, he's going to be mostly middle plate away.
So now Tejada with the pitcher G on deck. Would you consider playing hit and run with Tejada?
You could. Look at that hole. between first and second baseman.
And Jurgens gets ahead.
And that's where Tejada likes to hit the ball. He just would like to get maybe Uggla 5 more feet over. Don't leave that big a hole, I mean, for a hitter like Tejada, who just peppers that hole between first and second.
And it gets behind McCann, and down to second base goes Tolley. McCann couldn't close the 5-hole, and it costs the Braves, and the Mets have a runner in scoring position with nobody out.
Well, this is going to be a wild pitch. McCann's going to be kicking himself because he normally makes that play. He just didn't get the glove down.
That's the first wild pitch of the season for Jair Jurgens.
Shades of last night's game. A big play for the Mets, not able to keep that ball in the front.
Now they're in at the corners, the Braves, and I don't understand why, with a pitcher up next in G, that they would bunt with Tejada. I don't understand that at all.
Well, the only way you would bunt with Tejada is if you plan to squeeze with G. Oh, but now it's 1-2.
It's
and irrelevant.
Yeah.
Or moot. That's a good word.
Thank you.
Well, Jair Jurgens has been absolutely like a rock when he's been faced with run-scoring situations this year. And Tejada lifts one to center, shallow. In comes Mather, and he makes the running grab, and Tolley has to hold it second. Mather got a bit of a late start, but plenty of time to get there for the first out.
Well, if he gets through, no matter what's going to happen here, bar a double play, he's going to have to face a very red-hot Jose Reyes to get out of this little micro jam.
Whom he's handled so far tonight.
With off-speed stuff.
Well, Jair Jurgens has made 9 starts this year, and in every one of them, he's allowed 2 earned runs or less and pitched at least 6 innings. And that's why he has a 1.51 ERA. He's in some rather rarefied air with his performance so far this year, as G half swings and misses. First 9 starts, 6 innings in every start, 2 earned runs or less. It's only been done 4 times in Major League history now. Jurgens is the 4th.
Wow.
Ubaldo Jimenez did it last year, and the only 2 before him, Randy Johnson in 2000 and Lefty Gomez in 1937. Get off to that kind of start. And he gets ahead on G 0-2.
You know, when you're a pitcher and you're up there at bat, you're going to see a fastball unless there's one that's in scoring position. And then you are pitched just like a hitter.
There's Roger. Roger McDowell, pitching coach for the Bravos.
And G takes the fastball for strike 3 call. So good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Mr. G.
Go grab some pine.
That was a carving up of a hitter right there.
6 strikeouts for Jurgens, so he's left to Reyes with 2 outs.
Sets it up, doesn't it? This is the beauty of the game.
Fly to right, fly to center. He's just 3 for 19 in his career against Jurgens. Jair Jurgens, a native of Curacao, first pitcher from that country to ever pitch in the major leagues. And he has done his country proud. You know, when he was 6 years old, Jurgens was a bat boy on a team that Andrew Jones played on in Curacao. That brought him to the game. Now he's going to converse with McCann. First time, well, the second time of the game, the Mets have had a runner at second base.
Well, a lot of things there, Ronnie. Open base, red hot hitter, rookie behind.
Yeah, right-hander against right-hander.
Yeah, it's a lot. Let's think about this, you know. I like that first pitch, though. Fastball in. Just missed.
Wouldn't be a bad pitch to come back with again if you're Jurgens.
Talking to Jurgens, you know, he said the one thing that's helped him, and look, he was good when he got to Atlanta, but he said, you know, I did have a mindset during some games to try to strike everybody out, And it just got to me, hey, ground balls. It's worked for me. And it took a little while to get that in my head. But, boy, it's working for him now.
Behind on Reyes now 2-0. Let's see if he gives him a pitch to hit. And Jose jumps back from the fastball, so he's pitching very carefully to Reyes.
It's going to be on Mr. Turner.
If he had thrown that first pitch fastball for a strike in, then he would have went on attack mode. But once he threw it for a ball, then he had to be careful the rest of the at-bat, which he's doing now.
Jurgens walks very few. 11 walks in 70 innings this year.
Let Reyes swing 3-0, Keith?
Why not? He's red hot. And he got a changeup.
And on the corner, he's 3-1. So he wasn't giving in.
So do you sneak attack 3-1 up and in? That's a big gamble to do that.
And Reyes pops it up. Gonzalez retreating as he calls, and that retires the side. So Jurgens disposes of Reyes, works around the leadoff hit by Tolle, and keeps it scoreless at Citi Field. Night, the big city's rocking.
Look at these shining. Well, the United Nations building.
That is United Nations.
It's glistening.
And I used to live right to the right of there.
Alex Gonzalez leads off the 6th inning. He must have had a fun time there.
I did.
Swinging East Sider.
Midtown. Equidistant up and down. Strategically located.
You play both ends to the middle.
You can turn your left flank and your right flank.
I still miss the Dag Hammarskjöld 33D club.
Oh, jeez. Remember that one.
Chipper Jones looming on deck as G faces Gonzalez leading off in the 6th. And that slider misses badly. And it's 2-1.
You know, what's interesting is that the last 2 or 3 starts, really, that breaking ball has not been there for Dylan G, and still plowing ahead.
His changeup has been his pitch.
Yes, it has.
To center field, and Pagan is there to retire Gonzalez, one away. Let's check in with Chris Carlin, who has a New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. Boy, Garrett can hit,
yeah, he can.
Here's Chipper Jones with 1 out. Chipper's grounded out and struck out 0 for 2. And first pitch swinging again, hits it to shallow left, and Jason Bay is in. Chipper put the first ball in play in each of his first 3 at-bats last night. He's done it twice tonight. Not wasting much time.
You know, when Chris did that update there, Logan Morrison, watch him play. I like him more and more as a gamer, and he's also been a leader off the field too, hasn't he, Gary?
Well, he certainly had some pointed comments to make after Brian Sabean, the Giants general manager, had some rather disparaging things to say about Morrison's teammate Scott Cousins in the wake of the Buster Posey injury. That all happened yesterday. And the Giants just aren't letting it die. I mean, Cousins has twice tried to apologize to Posey. Posey won't return his phone calls or his emails. And what Sabean said yesterday I thought was unconscionable. And Morrison called him out on it, which was nice to see. I mean, Sabean basically threatened Cousins, said that the Giants would go after him the next time they played. He said he'd be happy if Cousins never played in the majors again. I mean, it was really bad.
It was out of line.
Taken outside, it's 3-0 to McCann. Well, it leads to our Toyota text poll. Should the rules be changed to protect catchers on plays of the plate? A for yes, B for no. Text 57508 and let us know what you think. 3-0 to McCann. You got to watch out here. And he takes it outside, ball 4, a 2-out walk. The second walk issued by G. Well, this is the play. I'm sure you've seen it by now. With Scott Cousins taking out Posey at the plate. I thought the most interesting thing I heard yesterday in terms of a comment about this play came from Johnny Bench.
Yeah.
Bench said it was Posey's fault. I mean, this is the greatest catcher of all time speaking, and you have to listen to what he says. He says Posey should have either been far enough in front of the plate so that he was completely out of the line of fire, or he should have blocked the plate, but instead he was in between. Freddie Freeman hits one down to first, and Murph's right there to grab it and make the play to end the inning. So the zero fest continues at Citi Field. Mets come up in the bottom of the 6th, no score. The two highest winning percentage pitchers in the National League going head to head, and they've been all that tonight. Dylan G and Josh Tolley debriefing after the top of the 6th.
I just thought it was the pitching maturity of Dylan G to say as soon as he got behind Brian McCann, you know what, he's the hottest hitter. He knows exactly who to pitch around if he has to.
So now Justin Turner up for the 3rd time. Single to right, stole a base in the 1st, took a call, 3rd strike in the 3rd from Jurgens, and he bluffs a bunt and takes a strike. It'll be Turner, then Beltran and Murphy, 2, 3, and 4 in the Mets order, as they try and break through against Jurgens, who's looking for his 8th win against 1 loss. And remember, he missed the first 2 weeks of the season because of an oblique injury. And yet he's just one win behind Kevin Correa of the Pirates for the league lead.
Boy, he's just painting his changeup too, Ronnie. Both pitchers got their changeups working, spotting their fastballs.
The National League Pitcher of the Month for May facing the National League Rookie of the Month for May. And Turner just got a piece to stay alive. Jurgens has kept his pitch count lower than anybody else in the major leagues this year. He's averaging 13.8 pitches per inning this season, the lowest of any major league qualifier. And the same tonight. And Turner lifts one to center field. And Mather drifting over. One out. Well, Carlos Beltran is coming out. Carlos has had some interesting conversations with the young home plate umpire Alan Porter tonight in the course of his evening.
Well, this is his first at bat. I thought that was a strike. Carlos did not. His second at bat.
I believe he said that was down.
Yes.
And he said, "What's going on?"
He said it was down, sir.
Have you seen the back of my baseball card? I know the strike zone.
Carlos has struck out twice, 2 of the 6 registered by Jurgens tonight. And he rips one to right field, but overcomes Hinsky and makes the grab, 2 out.
And that being said, other than Beltran, I think home plate umpire Alan Porter's had a very good game. What I usually find with rookie umpires is that they're very hesitant to call strikes because of that rating system, and they want to be perfect and make sure it's on the corner. He has been very aggressive in calling strikes this evening.
Well, Murphy's hit the ball hard twice. He's probably the only guy in the lineup who can say that. Single to left in the first, then hit a shot that Ugla caught at second base in the fourth. He just seems to be hitting the ball hard every time up. I mean,
well, this is Murphy's first at bat on your IOTV pitch differential, and you know he put it right where he wanted, but you see Murph covers that outside corner. That's Murph's strength right there, and he's red hot, and that's why he's hitting 300 now. 301, as a matter of fact, to be exact.
Long ago he was down in the 240s.
Yes,
and he has really been raging hot. Angel Pagan on deck.
You see Chipper playing back and way in the hole. That is a great positioning for Chipper Jones at third. Take that hole away from Murph.
Now Murph rolls this one out to Ugla, and so Jurgens has himself a 1-2-3 inning. He's sent down 6 in a row. The pitcher's duel continues. To the 7th we go. Ugla will lead it off in a scoreless game. Connected to the latest in New York sports with live reports, game previews, exclusive interviews, and heated debate on Daily News Live, Wheelhouse, and Loudmouths. All part of the New York Sports Local, weekdays starting at 5 on SNY. Dan Uggla leads off the 7th inning against Dylan G with no score and takes a fastball for a strike. Uggla has the only extra base hit in this game. He doubled off Justin Turner's glove down the left field side in the 5th. And G jams him, and it's 0-2. Let's check in with Kevin.
Braves hitting coach Larry Parrish told me he's still confident. I asked him, do you make changes? He said, look, he's a John Daly type of hitter, aggressive, grip it and rip it. And with his resume, I don't make changes unless he wants to make changes, unless he asks me to make changes, and that hasn't happened. You know, I asked him how he deals with this type of thing. He said, well, a coach once told me that, you know, water finds its level, but I don't tell that to my players anymore. I'll tell you why after the pitch.
It's the 0-2, and the curveball bounced foul.
When Larry was in Toledo, guys, coaching, he said, you know, he had a meeting and a couple guys that were really struggling, and he used that line, you know, guys, you know, water will seek its level, basically trying to get his players that were slumping, you know, a little boost and tell them it'll be okay. And he said, what happened is my 2 best players tanked for the rest of the year, and so I'll never tell another player that again.
Chopped, backing off his Turner to grab it, and the quick toss right on target to get Uggla one away.
Well, you know, a lot of times when guys come over, big contracts, new fan base, it's a lot of pressure. And
a new 5-year contract, too, in Uggla's case.
Yes, the big dollars. Look at Carl Crawford. Took him a long time to get on track for Boston. Jason Bay has yet to get on track here in New York.
Here's Eric Hinsky, who twice has flied to right. Dangerous bat. He unlocked a tie last night in the 9th inning. Joe Mather, the number 8 hitter on deck. These late innings are where the troubles have been for the Mets of late.
Hinsky has missed a couple of fastballs in, both fly balls to right field. He is looking for that pitch in.
Gets the changeup and flicks it to left. Bay got a late start, but comes in and grabs it. 2 out. You don't see Hinsky do that very often.
Well, he's 2 strikes. You know, he's just trying to stay in the at bat somehow, some way. Those are usually those humpback liners that sometimes get in the lights, but not this time.
So 2 out, and now Mather, who's been aboard twice, a single and a walk. And the curveball misses away for ball 1. And he has not gotten much mileage out of his curve or slider again tonight, as was the case in his last start against the Pirates.
Well, that's a pitch that he likes to throw to just get over for a strike, and he has not had that weapon tonight.
Well, the one thing he hasn't done, Ronnie, and correct me if I'm wrong, is he's missed wide badly against the right-hand hitter, is not try to adjust over to the inside part of the plate where you hang it. You can't get hurt when it's a ball outside.
Well, it's happened to me before. You know, start before, you hung a slider, guy hits a 2-run bomb off you, and you say the next game I'm going to make sure that if I miss, it's going to be away or down. I'm not going to give him a pitch to hit, and especially in a game like you have tonight, 0-0.
He's being careful with Mather again, as he was the last time. Throws that one to the outside corner, and it's 3-1. He faced Mather with a runner at 3rd and 1 out in the 5th and pitched around him and was able to get through the inning. And with Jurgens obviously going to hit for himself, he can afford to be careful with Mather here. Bounce down to 3rd. Short hop picked by Turner. Side retired. Nicely done by Justin Turner. And Dylan G has himself a 1-2-3 inning. It is 7th inning stretch time at Citi Field. Jurgens and G. Genius.
Field between Dylan G and Jair Jurgens. Home 7th were scoreless. And as we watch these pitchers do their thing, we're talking about Chris Capuano between starts following his routine. Today, his routine was throwing his side session, and he went out and threw long toss for about 15 minutes, and I mean long toss. He threw from the left field foul line to the warning track in the Mo zone in right field. And then he went into the bullpen session, and what he does, 21 pitches from the stretch to start it off. All told, he threw about 50 pitches. He said sometimes they're going to work on a specific pitch, but today it was more about the Brewers lineup. Now, Dan Worthen did have him throwing a cutter today, and Capuano said, I threw that earlier in my career, but hadn't thrown it in a long time. First time he threw it, Worthen was in the batter's box simulating Ryan Braun. He almost took Worthen's head off. But after that, it got better, and he said, it felt actually pretty good. I'm not sure whether or not I'm going to use it in the game yet. As Pagan leads off against Jurgens, takes strike one. But in this situation, Worthen went down the lineup and simulated the batter, so much so that he would get closer to the plate and move farther away from the plate depending on who was up. And Capuano said it was very sharp, very good bullpen, felt confident. Dan Worthen says his bullpen focus exactly like the game focus. As that one goes foul. As we take a look at Capuano working in the pen, he wasn't done. After that, he went and did some bunting, did some hitting. And then did some upper body workouts, some core workouts, and did some running as well. So it's a full day for Capuano in the pen today. But he said pen very sharp. We'll see if he throws that cutter in Milwaukee on Tuesday when he returns to face the Brewers, guys.
Pagan bounces one for Ugla, and that's the first down in the bottom of the 7th.
Ron, I have a question. Well, when you were pitching, did you have a pitching coach that, you were basically curveball, splitter, fastball.
Yeah.
Did you have one of the pitching coaches said, let's try a cutter today? Or did you just work on your pitches to hone them?
Just tried to refine the pitches that you had, make those better. I always tried to spend a lot of time in between starts, and because your arm is still kind of recovering. So it's really hard to break off those good breaking balls in between starts. So you establish that at some point you can throw that fastball to either corner on the knees. That's what I always try to concentrate on. And Kevin, that's a great piece on Capuano. I saw him today throwing between 150 and 200 feet before he went into that bullpen to warm up. And also, if you saw that little piece documented, showed him behind the mound throwing uphill. That's a Rick Peterson influence when Rick was in Milwaukee.
Peterson's the one that got him on the long toss program as well, coming back from the injury run.
Well, there's another piece with, and Kevin brought it up, and I'm wondering, Ronnie, when you're getting yourself ready for a start that's going to have some extra emotion tied to it, which this one absolutely will for Capuano, his first start back in Milwaukee where he spent his entire career. Does that change your preparation at all? Gonzalez drops it as he ran around that ground ball by Bay, and the Mets get a break here in the 7th inning. An error on Alex Gonzalez.
Boy, a rare error.
Like he caught a spike or something. He was looking behind himself after he bobbled that ball.
Well, a little bit of a one-handed all-star. That's what happens. Oh, it's in the exchange. You got a little loose there. A little bit loose. More than a little bit loose.
Certainly not what Jurgens was expecting. Gonzalez normally so sure-handed.
Got to watch hit and run here. You could try hit and run.
Told he took a base hit the other way his last time up.
I don't understand why Chipper Jones is playing in as if he's going to bunt. He's on the cut of the grass. There's one out. There's no way that Tolle is going to bunt. You got to get back and cover some ground.
And Tolle takes it wide.
Gary, you were talking about Capuano really quickly. I think the most important thing when you have a big start coming up that's going to have a lot of emotion, try not to do too much. You don't want to change your routine. And I think, Chris, from Kevin's report, you can tell just so routine oriented. So you don't want to change it too much just because it's going to be an emotional start.
Got to be a way to try to amp yourself down a little bit.
Well, also, I think that he can't kick himself too hard. He pitched as well as you can pitch. His numbers don't say that, but he pitched as well as he can pitch. I wouldn't change a thing with the way his approach is right now.
Ronnie, you know what he said in the past? He had the routine, and if he ran 45 minutes when it came a big start, he'd run an hour 15. He'd do more, and he said it was silly. I was only hurting myself.
Tolley pulls one down the right field line for a base hit. Bay racing around second and heading for third. Hinske fielding it. Chip Hale will hold up Bay. Tolley's in with a double, and the Mets have second and third and one out. The first extra base hit of the game for New York, and Tolley picks up his 7th double to put the Mets in business.
Well, the changeup that Jurgens has been going to and has been his best friend, he makes a mistake. Didn't miss that much, really, Ron. He just got a little bit up, didn't get on the outside where he wanted and got a little bit up. And that's an automatic for Jason motoring to third.
And that's the way to run the bases. Not looking over his shoulder, just looking at Chip Hale, hustling, because you never know. That might be the only run of the game.
First time the Mets have had a runner to third with less than 2 out, and now it's up to Ruben Tejada to try and get it in.
Corners in, potential squeeze.
And they've got the middle infielders back. They'll concede a run on a ground ball. Scoreless game, bottom of the 7th. Trying to keep it from being a multiple run inning. Interesting call by Freddie Gonzalez. And Tejada takes on the inside corner a strike. Ruben single to right, fly to center, 1 for 2. Jason Pridey has come out on deck to bat with Dylan G. I have a feeling, though, if the Mets get a run here, that G would hit for himself.
It's almost like Freddie Gonzalez is saying, we're going to concede the run. If we get beat because we didn't score any runs, shame on us.
And double up inside.
And he jumps back and he gets hit by the pitch, and now the bases are loaded.
Jurgens didn't want to come that far inside, just the second batter he's hit this year. So on an error, double, and a hit batsman, the Mets load him up with 1 out, and Jason Pridey will come up to pinch hit for Dylan G.
Well, we showed you that stat of Jurgens, why that 4 for whatever it was with the runners in scoring position at 5 for 48. That's why you see how he wanted to aggressively come in. It's been 2 times he's been in trouble in this game, and he's come inside to get that first strike.
George Sherrill, the left-hander, Scott Proctor, the right-hander, up in the Braves bullpen. Jurgens has thrown only 88 pitches, working in the 7th inning. So Jason Pridey gets the chance to try and unlock this scoreless duel with Bay at third, Tolley at second, and Tejada at first, and 1 out. Pridey is 1 for 3 as a pinch hitter this year, hitting at .237.
But this is kind of a new role for him. He has been in a position of starting. If he's had those pinch hitter bats, they haven't been in these kind of circumstances. A big moment.
And as a team, the Mets have struggled all year getting a runner in for third with less than 2 out. And Pridey has struggled in his opportunities. He's only accomplished that feat 1 out of 4. So he gets the crack here against Jurgens. The error by Gonzalez opening the door, and the Mets trying to storm through. And Pridey lays off the changeup, 1-0. Jose Reyes waiting on deck. Pridey's got some speed out of the left-hand batter's box. Not all that easy to double up.
And he lines one into right field, falling fast, base hit. The Mets grab the lead as Bay comes down the line to score, and it's 1-0 New York. A broken bat RBI hit as a pinch hitter for Jason Pridey to score the game's first run.
Another change, and it just seems like getting it up, Ronnie. Up.
And that's going to be all for Jair Jurgens. So Jason Pridey comes through. Hinske tried to deke that he was going to catch that ball. But the Mets get the game's first run. The bases remain loaded for Jose Reyes as Jurgens heads off. The call to the bullpen brought to you by Lincoln. 1-0 New York in the 7th. We'll be right back.
Scott Proctor comes in to face Jose Reyes with the bases loaded and gets the first pitch over for a strike.
Well, Proctor had Tommy John surgery in 2009. You can see he has not been scored upon his last 6 appearances. Did some of his finest work for the Yankees in his heyday.
Ripped down the right field line by Reyes. That's an extra base hit into the corner. Tolley scores. Tejada scores. Friday being waved home. Friday scores. Reyes goes to third. And the Mets lead it 4-0. Reyes clears the bases.
Well, for your 10th triple, breaking ball down and in. Good pitch to Jose. Nice hit. Went right down and got it. Rocket down the right field line, and that's an automatic trip for him.
His 10th triple of the season. All 10 have come here at Citi Field. And he has just been raging hot, hasn't he? His 80th hit of the year. It's now 4-0 New York. The infield in. And Turner takes ball 1. Well, all 4 runs are charged to Jair Jurgens. One of them will be unearned, but the error by Gonzalez opened the door, and the Mets have just come crashing through in support of Dylan G. And now it's going to be up to the Mets bullpen to try to hold this lead. And that, of course, has been where the monkey wrench has been for the Mets of late.
Oh, boy. Oh, he's not. He's mad. The manager taking him out.
Well, we were talking about in the booth while the pitching change was being made as Turner swings at strike 2. It's hard to believe that you would take Jurgens out of the game at that point.
Well, at some point you're making a choice to bring in a right-hander to replace your National League pitcher of the month. Move I wouldn't make.
McCann stops it to freeze Reyes at third. It's 2-2.
Also, if you look at it, you know, Gonzalez with the error is one of the reasons that Jurgens was in trouble.
Well, the Mets loaded him up on an error, the double by Tolley, and the hit by pitch, and then Pridey's broken bat pinch hit brought in the game's first run. Now Turner drives one out to center. That'll get Reyes home. Mather with a nice running grab, and Reyes can walk on in with the 5th run of the inning. Sacrifice fly for Justin Turner, and it's 5-0.
Nice inning for the Mets offensively here, taking advantage of the 1-out error to get the ball rolling.
When you have these kind of games, Keith, right? Just small little mistakes can change the whole outcome of the game.
Now here's Beltran, who's 0 for 3, the 8th man up in the inning.
That's 3 earned runs credited to Jurgens, right?
Yep. The last run, which is charged to Proctor, will be earned against Proctor but unearned against the team, because the sacrifice fly would have been the 3rd out of the inning, but the relief pitcher does not get the benefit of that call.
That's a good ruling.
Shallow right field, a long run in from Hinsky, and he makes the running grab to end the inning. But the Mets put up a 5 spot on the 7th. The error by Gonzalez opened the door. Jason Pridey's broken bat hit gets the first run in. Reyes' triple does a big part of the rest. 5-0 New York, and the Mets will go to the bullpen in the 8th. Sunday at 6 p.m. on an all-new Mets Weekly, get an inside look at Carlos Beltran and his revived season, plus a look back at some favorite Mets traditions from the past on Mets Weekly. New episode Sunday at 6 only on SNY. Here's your AT&T trivia question for tonight. Who holds the Mets record for triples at home in a season? Jose Reyes now has 10 of them with his 3-run triple in the bottom of the 7th. Pedro Beato comes on to pitch the 8th. Matt Young pinch hits for the Braves and takes ball 1.
Well, it's time for Beato to right the ship. He's given up runs in 4 of his last 5 outings. That ERA jumping all the way to 3.42. You know, here's a guy that in the future you look to maybe man this position.
So Jason Pridey is now in right field. So Beato hits in the 3 spot in the order, and Beltran comes out in the double switch. So I think the hope for Terry Collins is that Beato can finish this game. But now behind on Young, 3-0. Well, a brilliant outing for Dylan G. 85 pitches over 7 innings. He allowed no runs and 4 hits, walked 2, struck out 2, and outlasted Jair Jurgens. There's a strike, 3-1.
Sometimes that's what you got to do against the other team's best pitcher. That's what Jurgens has been in this first 9-10 starts. Sometimes you just have to outlast them.
Well, if the Mets win this game and G is the winning pitcher, Dylan G will become the first Mets rookie starter ever to go 6-0 to start his rookie season as a starter. John Matlack started out 6-0 in his rookie season, but one of those wins was as a relief pitcher in 1972. And that's something, isn't it, for a guy who, when he was first drafted out of Texas Arlington, was looked at as a roster filler, a fringe guy, not as a big-time prospect. And look where he is now.
He can flat out pitch.
Young bounces one, and in comes Tejada. So Beato comes back from 3-0 to get Young for the first out in the 8th inning. Let's check in with Chris Carlin for a New York State Smokers Quit Line game break.
Hit it one-handed.
I think he's back.
When I saw that slow start by Pujols, all I thought to myself is some pitchers are going to pay.
Martin Prado 1 for 3 on the night. Singled back in the first inning, was caught stealing. He might have been the biggest out registered by Dylan G tonight. Prado came up in the 5th inning with 1st and 3rd and 2 out, and in a 9-pitch extravaganza, G finally got him to bounce out to short.
Well, that was a nice job by Tolle going out there. Beato has to realize, now listen, his confidence has been shaken a little bit because he's been hit. But he's got to realize he's got a 5-0 lead here. The fastball should be true and catch more of the plate.
He's lost a little bit of that sink that he had when he first was up before he went on the DL. And by the way, Pittsburgh is beating Philly again in the bottom of the 7th, 4-2.
Kyle Kendrick started that game for the Phillies. Popped up, and in comes Turner. And that's the 2nd out. So Prado's retired. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Cholula Hot Sauce. Looking for that perfect balance of flavor and heat? Add Cholula to your next meal. The hot sauce with the wooden cap. By Bowlmore Lanes, the world's most famous bowling alley, now open in Times Square at 44th Street. Shouldn't you bowl more? And by State Farm, today's State Farm agent of the day in an upset is Brian Gill of Melville. Contact Brian's office at brianmgill.com.
Well, Pat can't win it all the time.
Just most of the time. Here's Alex Gonzalez, and he takes a strike. Well, so far so good for the Mets in the 7th inning on. This has been the trouble spot over the last few weeks. And Gonzalez pops one up. So Beato, after a shaky start, gets a 1-2-3 inning. We head for the bottom of the 8th. High above Columbus Circle, the Mets sporting a 5-0 lead.
music is so dramatic. It's like Spartacus or Ben-Hur. Yeah,
right
better.
in keeping with the theme of the night. Started out with you eating a Keith burger, and it's stayed dramatic ever since.
And I wore my orange tie.
Because the fans are true to the orange and blue.
Well, this orange tie hasn't lost yet this year. It's 3-0 now.
Wow.
Hopefully 3-0. It's not over, but it's 3-0.
Go easy, kid.
George Sherrill on to pitch the home 8th inning, and Daniel Murphy takes ball 1. Murphy's 1 for 3 tonight, singled back in the 1st inning. A scoreless game till the bottom of the 7th when the Mets erupted for 5. It all began with an Alex Gonzalez error. It should have been the 2nd out. Mets should have had 2 out and nobody on, but with the door left open, Josh Tolley doubled. Ruben Tejada was hit by a pitch. Jason Pridey is a pinch hitter, knocked in the game's first run, and then Jose Reyes against Scott Proctor cleared the bases with a triple and came home on a Justin Turner sacrifice fly for a 5-run 8th inning. Tomorrow night, Mets are on ESPN, and then we'll be back with you on Tuesday night when the Mets travel to Milwaukee to take on the Brewers. 7:30 for Pepsi Max pregame live begins our coverage Tuesday night from Miller Park right here on SNY. Murphy hits one back up the middle, and he's got himself another 2-hit game. He's getting 2 hits every day. Didn't hit that ball hard, but found a hole, and the Mets get the leadoff man on in the 8th. Now Angel Pagan, who's gone 0 for 3 today. Had a hit in each of his first 8 games off the disabled list, so that streak on the line here in the 8th inning. The final line on Jair Jurgens doesn't adequately reflect how well he pitched. Jurgens, 6 1/3 innings, gets charged with 6 hits, 4 runs, 3 of them earned, no walks, 6 strikeouts, a hit batsman, and a wild pitch. But he is on the hook for his 2nd loss of the year against 7 wins.
Well, the error hurt him. The error to the shortstop, Alex Gonzalez. So it would have been 2 outs, nobody on, and also he's got to kick himself with when he hit Tejada.
Yeah.
And I think what has to trouble you if you're with the Braves is not how Jurgens pitched. It's how he reacted both to the error and then in the dugout after Proctor gave up the triple.
I just really think he's just being competitive there, Gare. He wasn't really showing up his manager. It was a knee-jerk reaction. It wasn't like he was screaming and yelling into someone else's ear and saying, how can he pull me? I just think he's just competitive. All pitchers want to stay in there and clean up their own mess, don't you think, Ron?
Well, especially in that kind of game when Gonzalez made the error. You want to try to get out of that problem by yourself. You have confidence that you give your team the best chance of getting out of that. That being said, I think that listen, there's a lot of things that you do on the field you'd love to take back, but you try to learn, especially in the error part. When your teammates make errors, you have to remember that they're pretty spotless there for 7 innings, so those things are going to happen.
Loop down into left center field. Over comes Mather to slide and make the grab. Nice play by Joe Mather to take a base hit away from Pagan, and Murphy back to first, 1 out.
I tell you what, Mather has played a real nice center field tonight. He's covered a lot of ground, made him look easy.
I've been surprised by Joe Mather's speed in this series. I didn't know he was that fast. It's a nice shot right there.
Putting that ball right into the glove. Mercedes-Benz Ultra-Mo brought to you by your Tri-State dealers on the web at searchmercedes.com. Well, here's Jason Bay, who hit the ground ball that Alex Gonzalez aired on, and the curveball from Sherrill in for a strike. Jason came in to score the first Met run. He's gone 0 for 3 today, now hitless in his last 16 at bats. His average down to .218. It's that one to short, and Gonzalez and Ugla turn 2. 6-4-3 double play ends the inning. So we head to the 9th at Citi Field, 5-0 New York. We asked who holds the Mets record for triples at home in a season. Well, it's the same guy who holds their record for triples in a season. Lance Johnson had 12 of his 21 at Shea in 1996. Pedro Beato pitching the ninth, and he misses high to Chipper Jones. Well, the Mets scored all 5 of their runs in the 7th inning. Beato came on and pitched a 1-2 3/8. In their last 13 games, only once have the Mets not allowed a run from the 7th inning on, and that was a game in which the opposition didn't bat from the 7th inning on, the rain-shortened game in Chicago.
Oh, that was Dylan G's game also.
Right. Too high to Chipper, 2-1. The Mets have 2 shutout victories this year, and they came in back-to-back games against the Nationals May 18th and 19th. And ball 4 to Chipper, or no, it's a strike. 3-1. Braves have been shut out 4 times this year. They have struggled with their offense for most of the season.
Well, they don't have that combo in the middle like they used to with Chipper Jones in his prime and Andrew Jones. That was quite a 3-4 combo right there.
I'll tell you, though, it's a recurrent theme in the National League. You could say that about many clubs.
It's really true. I mean, we're going to go to Milwaukee and finally find a team that has some offense. Driven to right and right at Jason Pridey, and that's the first out in the ninth. Let's check in on the guys in the studio, see what's coming up on Lincoln Post Game Live with Chris Carlin and Bobby Ojeda. Guys. All right, guys, we have a pitching change here at Citi Field. Tim Burdock will come in to try and get the final 2 outs, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Jordan graduated, you know? Oh, yeah.
Tim Burdock comes on to try and finish things off with the 2 left-hand hitters, McCann and Freeman, coming up.
See Tim's numbers on the season. You know what? You say to yourself, why would you take Beato out? Well, one, might need him tomorrow, and secondly, Burdock needs some work, and these are 2 tough left-handers. This is a good way to test your mettle.
It's a game you got to win.
And you get Beato out on a positive note. 4 batters faced, 4 batters retired. Get him back on the beam where he was earlier in the year when he was just about unhittable. McCann swinging and missing, and it's 1-2. McCann's gone 0 for 2 in a walk. He's 0 for 6 in this series. He came into the series raging hot, but the Mets have cooled him down. Freddie Freeman on deck. One out, top of the ninth, and McCann turns out of the way. 2-2. Dylan G, 7 innings, no runs, 4 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, a chance to go to 6-0 in his first 8 starts of the year. ERA now at 3.33. Out to left field, chasing Bay back a few strides as the wind grabs it, and that's the second out. Geico Sports Night, your nightly source for all things New York sports. Tonight, a look around the National League East. The French Open final won by Li Na. And the Stanley Cup continues. Game 2 tonight, the Bruins and the Canucks. Geico Sports Night tonight after the postgame only on SNY.
Straight sets, Gary, by the way.
Yeah, 7-6 in the last. First Chinese woman to win the a Grand Slam.
She's been in both finals, Australian and the French, and she's won the French now, her first Grand Slam.
Good for her.
I want you all to know that was all done with no notes. I'm very impressed with you and me too.
Obviously, Keith and I both had the same channel on this morning.
That's our radio station. And Federer and Nadal tomorrow.
Freeman grounds one to short. Reyes gets in front of it, and the ball game is over. Burdock comes in to put on the finishing touches. The Mets win the pitcher's duel as G outpitches Jurgens. A 5-run 7th inning, the difference, as the Mets have split the first 2 games of this series with the Braves.
Well, Reyes with another big triple that broke the game open. His 10th here at home. And Dylan G really is the story. Goes to 6-0. Beato, they get him to get 4 outs, a clean 4 outs to get him back in line, and Burdock with the last couple outs for the pitching, Keith.
Well, you know, it's one of those games you win, you take advantage of the error by the shortstop Gonzalez. So it would have been 2 outs, nobody on. Next thing you know, the floodgates are open. Mets played a real nice